Hi there. Oh, there you are. I was just calling you, Stephen.
No need to.
Okay.
I forgot to go take a look at those roof shingles that are down in the kitchen.
Kitchen?
Um, I imagine they're still there.
Yeah, they are. I went yesterday and looked yesterday before I left because I didn't know what to do.
Um, I'll tomorrow I'll stop up and take a look.
I can,
Is it?
they're shingles, the 3 sheet shingle sheet that they
Yeah.
put up and like we were talking about, that's what they are. And it's a pile of them. I can have highway remove them, but I don't know whether they should be recycled or where they should go or where they even came from. They're in front of the stove on the
And
floor.
I assume they look like they're unused.
Yes. Well, I hadn't gone through them. I know the pile is about 8 inches thick.
Do you remember what color the top one
Black.
is? Black. Huh.
Well, they look like asphalt shingles. They are
But
asphalt shingles.
yeah,
Yeah.
because I don't. They're not black on
Or they're
town.
like gray. They have like that stony color.
Well, take a look. They could be spares for the roof on town hall. Don't know.
Well, then we need to store them somewhere, not in
Yeah,
front of this kitchen stove.
right. Yeah, I wonder who put them there.
I have no idea.
Were they in the maybe they were in that utility room that has all the other junk in it?
I don't know, but I'm trying to clean up. The kitchen was a mess, and I've got it kind of cleaned up, the counter and everything, but I've got these shingles on the floor in front of the stove. So I didn't want to just get rid of them before I
Right.
asked people what they were.
Um, since we have a quorum and since we've got a bunch of things to go through and since we have to shut down at 6:30, I'm going to call the meeting to order.
Okay.
Jeff, have you had a chance to look through the 3 sets of minutes?
Did you?
Yes.
Okay. If you look through them, they must be really good. 'Cause you pick up like everything.
I
He
even
did. I copy and paste a lot. And what was that? In April 2023?
oh yeah. I even caught that where the H was left off of your last name.
Right. I caught that one again too.
Yeah.
So Stephen, I'm not going to give you host abilities tonight. I'm just going to leave.
Okay.
Because I have to start the assessors meeting as well.
Can you
Okay.
give me, in case we get to the spreadsheets, can you give me an ability to share my screens?
I think I have to make you host if that's the case. Um, so does,
I don't know if we can get to it.
I won't need to share my screen, I don't think.
so you
But
want
if
me
we-
to make Frank host, and then Frank, you'll have to give me host back, like at 5:20, 6:25. Do you know how to do that? I'm gonna make you co-host.
Co-host,
Let's see if
Yeah.
co-host works.
let's see if that works.
Yes. Now I'm co-host, and then yes, that works, and that's all we need to do. And then when we disappear,
Yep. I'll
You come back.
disappear. You guys stay there.
okay. Thank you, Gaby.
So you're Ed McMahon? Is that the?
Yeah.
Hi, Anna.
Hi.
Um, Anna, did you have a chance to take a look at the 3 sets of minutes?
Look at them right now.
Good enough for me.
Well, Anna's looking. Jeff, any response from the roofer
No,
regarding?
we're not going to hear anything till spring.
Okay.
Still have this issue where I have to request access each time I open these things.
I didn't use your.
Oh, it came to my shutesbury.anna.cook@gmail.
But yeah, so it did come to the right one because I
Yeah,
deleted the other one, but
I don't know.
it's
Not
not,
quite.
you're listed as an editor too. I don't have a request for you. Let me go into another screen
I
here.
just sent
Okay,
them.
I don't know why.
I just sent the three.
I don't know why, because we fixed this a while ago.
Yeah, I don't either. Do we want AI transcription for this?
When they get the new system, we'll get AI and transcription, but you still have to fix the some things about it because it will use
Like, did you guys get the pop-up saying that this is being transcribed for AI companion?
yeah, they'll and then it is. The other thing is it says I sent it to you, but it's got your Interbuild account is requesting it. Are you opening it up in that email?
I'm not, so I'm only, that's what's confusing to me. So I'm just opening, I'm accessing this all via my iPhone where I can get to
Yeah,
all my email, but I'm opening the Shutesbury email account. I mean, that's the only way I can read the emails through
yeah.
that. So I'm just clicking the
But
email.
it's weird because that must be a default on your computer because it is asking for your
Yeah.
Interbuild account.
Yeah.
I might
That's
go back and add both those and then we can do
that's
away with it.
weird because I'm on my phone. Like I'm not, I don't know. I don't really understand like where I'm tr getting from like Google Doc, like which
Yeah.
I don't know how to answer this.
Okay. Anyway, just hit share, share, share,
Okay.
share.
Thanks. Next time I'll just say I read them.
Like Jeff.
What?
I trust you. You do a great job.
All right. So do we need to individually approve these minutes, or can we just do the?
Do it as a group. Do it
Okay.
as a group.
Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes from October 30th, November 20th, and December 4th?
Make a motion to approve those three.
Second,
Frank.
All right. Oh, yeah, I'll do it.
I'm reading.
Okay, I was going to let Anna, but I'll do
all
it.
That's
in
fine.
favor?
I could. I'll bring it up if I have any concerns. How about that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All in favor? Cook,
I
McGinn,
Aye.
Quackenbush,
Aye.
Dalmas, aye. Okay, thank you. Um, so Frank, tell us about the Knox boxes.
Ah, um, I reached out to Lenny. He wanted the recessed ones. You and I had a conversation, and I read it back about the recessed ones are used in a masonry scenario that most of them are
Surface mounted.
surface mounted, and so I haven't gone back to him about that. They're going to be between $600 and $800 a box.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and they're fancy. The ones he wanted are the fanciest. It's not the one that says red and firebox that you get anywhere on Amazon for $200. He wants the original Knox box because it has extra security
Mhm.
and installation things. And I asked which buildings, and we're working on that so we can figure out what this is going to cost.
Right. He told me when I spoke with him more recently that Town Hall has a combo lock
Right.
doors, so he doesn't need one there. And the question that occurred to me is, should we talk to the Historic Commission? So if we're going to put one on, say, Old Town Hall, are they okay with that? Or where would they be okay with that mounting?
I would, yeah, I would check with them all because I don't know. Do we want to spend $1,000 on the MN Spear Library when won't that be open this year?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in
Wait,
other
you
words,
The old
mean the
library.
new
the
library?
old no the old library. In other words,
Yeah.
he wanted a lot of buildings, so that's one of them. I know we're not going to do the dam shed. There's no need to do that one.
We're not going to
Uh,
do that. We're not going to do
the
West
the fire department, just maybe
Highway.
highway. Old Town Hall,
Spear.
and that's, do we need to do MN Spear? I'm sure the fire department's, I mean, the police department's going to go after that, but that'll take at least 2 years to get that up and running. So,
Yeah, but the purpose of the Knox box is to allow fire department access, whether anybody's in
Yeah.
Spear or not.
okay,
The fire department would still need access if there's a fire.
yep, okay.
And then we need at the elementary school, right?
Right.
Does the
So-
elementary school doesn't have one? Huh.
Well, that's the thing is we haven't done a full inspection there.
Okay.
Well, we can check, but it sounds like those 4 buildings.
Okay.
Um, you
Well,
know,
presumably, if we buy one for the old the old library, like they'll still want it when the police take over, whoever
Yes.
takes it over.
Whoever,
So
yeah.
it's like something we're gonna want anyways, right?
yes, I agree.
Okay.
Looking at what you got, Frank, on the Knox boxes, where it shows the install, when it's surface mounted, it's actually the bolts, the fasteners go all the way through to the interior.
Mhm.
In my mind, if you straddle a stud and then put a plate, could just be, a piece of 3/4 inch plywood across the stud that the bolts come through. I mean, no one's going to get that off. And that seems to be Len's concern.
Mhm.
I don't think it's valid. I mean, if someone's going to put that much time and energy into trying to get that Knox box off, they're going to get into the building some other way.
That's true.
So it sounds like, we'll need to approach Historic Commission to talk to them as we pursue this about locations that they're
Mhm.
and in coordination with the fire department.
Yeah, because I think technically the fire department gets to call the shots on where the Knox box goes,
Yeah,
Right.
not the historical people.
right. But we could, being generous, we'll talk to them and and tell them that Len has the final call. But
Right.
okay. So I did send a letter to the select board right after that last meeting, incorporating those 2 suggested requirements. And if you go to the town site, you can look at what they included. It's not, exactly what I said, but it's the general gist of it, that we would be notified when there's going to be a contractor coming for some kind of repair or service, so that we can, if we won't be there, and that the building records will be made available to us. So I talked to, I went back to the fire department, and there's no sign above that exit door, but the sign above the other exit door, in that back bay area, is just it's not an illuminated sign. It's just say a paper, or it could be on thin plastic that's attached to the wall above the door, says exit. And you cannot see whether or not the door that's sealed has panic hardware on it, because there's a cabinet that fits exactly into the space, uptight to the door. You can't see it. So I think, to find out if it's necessary, we'd have to talk to the building inspector. Does that make sense, Jeff?
Yeah. So where's the door that you say has a paper exit sign on it?
If you're facing the rear, the south wall from the back of the parking area, the person door is to the left corner.
Okay,
So the door that's non-functional is sort of it's on the east wall, but it's near the southeast corner. So it's like a door at each corner.
and that's the only door out of the truck bay to the
The only
outdoors?
so there's one door to the outside from that rear engine bay.
Okay,
And, from the engine bay, there are two ways to get, say, back into the building, to the office area.
so the second means of egress is through the office.
Through the office, yeah.
And then is there an exit sign above the door? What I would call the front door?
You mean from the office or the front door of the bay?
From the office.
Good question. I went and looked for one exit sign. Didn't see there, but I did find the one, above the back door from the engine bay.
Okay,
So I was wondering if somebody wants to pursue this further.
I'll take a ride by to look for exit signs.
Okay.
well, also check to see if there are illuminated exit signs.
Right.
Is there a fire detection system in that building?
Yes, I did pay attention to that. Yeah. There's I think it's a monitored system. It's a similar smoke. I don't know if they're combination, smoke and carbon monoxide or just smoke, but there are detectors, several locations. I'm not going to say I looked at every one, but same exact kind appear to be over in the highway department. And the highway department chief said that they occasionally get notices that something isn't, functioning properly and they need to come out and check it, that kind of thing. So the system is definitely monitored and alerting the company that's monitoring to any issues. So when I was up at the highway department, go ahead.
Just a quick question. I'm just, shooting out there because I heard that we had multiple Zoom accounts and we're actually getting a really big change in our Zoom accounts for the same price, but we get 10 accounts and all this other stuff, bells and whistles. Are all the buildings on the same alarm system?
Don't know.
When you
It
say
just
all
makes
the
sense.
buildings, all the
In other
town
words,
buildings?
In other words, if like Stephen was just mentioning, the highway department, if the fire thing goes off, the alarm company gets a indication, are they all wired through the same account or are we spending, just curious.
They're one monitoring agency taking
Right.
care of all systems.
Should make sense to me. Usually it's cost savings. So I was just curious. I can ask.
Okay, so when I went back to the highway department to finish up a number of the things that I needed to for the report, I was talking with the highway department chief, and he was saying that he apparently more recently talked to the select board. He would like the big separate salt shed building that when you're facing the highway departments off to the right,
Mhm.
I'd like to replace that with one of the ones that you often see that comes up to a point, kind of a cone head. Like if you drive through Wendell, they have one.
Oh yeah.
All right.
I was making a face because I have to ask, they were problematic and expensive.
Well, let me tell you what he said. He said the problem with the current salt shed is when they get deliveries with, I guess, tractor trailers that can dump, they can't go into that building because the trusses, actually, when I was looking at things, you could see where the trusses had to be repaired. So they dump outside, and then with the front end loader, you got to transfer all of that into the building, and then you transfer it. You can't mix. I mean, it's just like there are all these functional issues with the current salt shed. So he's would be interested in having one of these new ones. I know nothing about issues with them, but from the standpoint of all the extra man time and hours on that mother front end loader, it would seem that in the long run, it would pay itself back. So I didn't know if that's something that we would want to find out a little bit more about, and then either uh, provide, what, not reinforcement. We would tell the select board that we support this idea.
I'll throw a wrench in there. Wendell has one,
Yeah,
and they're going to liquid now because it's cheaper. And I asked Steve Sullivan the same thing, and they were getting a fire truck to where they'd be able to do an old fire truck tank. They would be able to do their own calcium chloride on Montague Road and various roads, because the company that used to do that was bought out, and there's only one company in the area. The price tripled or something like that. And I asked him about liquid, and he goes, well, then if we bought a few tanks, and I learned this from someone in Wendell recently who works in town hall, they add molasses to the liquid, and that helps it stick to the road, and it's a prep that works a lot better, and it will cut their sand costs down dramatically. And I don't know if anyone has ever gone up and down Wendell Depot Road during an ice storm. And I used to not use it at all. It's so much better with the liquid right now, with all the ice we've had. It's clear and and stuff like that. So for long-term planning, we can look into doing a storage shed, but the finance committee or capital planning should also look into long-term because most towns are going to liquid because of the cost factor, the efficiency, and something else. Why spend a couple $100,000 on a building that becomes obsolete?
sounds good.
Did the highway guy say when he talked to the town, to the select board, what was their comment about getting this cone-shaped thing?
Well, I got the impression that he had just recently thrown that at them and hadn't gotten any response, one way or the other.
Okay, and did they give you any information on how big of a building it needs?
No, no, we didn't talk about that.
Okay.
So, anybody have a suggestion on whether or not we try to get more information on this, or
Well, I'm finding, what Frank said to be interesting. Why pursue a building if that's not really the approach that we're going to be, or the highway department should be using?
right?
I guess I would, before we go pursuing this, I'd want to make sure that liquid, we're not going to be going to liquid.
Yeah, they also have a new barrel-shaped one that I'm looking online. I just remember someone telling me there was a problem with those cone ones because of the shape. But I'm doing now that looks like a huge tube is what they're using now online.
Yeah. Well, it would sound like roofing that would be, you'd be
Well,
cutting shingles
they're
all
all
day long.
they're all tarped now, so all those heavy duty tops with so they're
Oh.
lightweight. But just to give you an idea, they're between, according to Google search using AI, they're approximately $156 a square foot. Yeah, anywhere between 4 and 800,000, 400,000 to 800,000.
And that's for these barrel shaped ones?
Yep, a 40 by 96.
And is that an installed price or is that just the
That's
kit?
what they said. Yeah, when they Fitchburg got theirs in 2018, it was 600,000. Sturbridge got theirs in 2016, it was 454. Wareham has an estimate of 680 to put one of theirs in. It's called a canopy lean-to structure.
Wait a minute, it has a current estimate for 680?
Yeah, 680.
Okay.
So I mean, that's a lot. And I will do some research on the one that Wendell has.
And do you know how long Wendell's had it? How new it is?
Those went by. There was someone when I was talking about this thing, the state provided a lot of monies for that.
How long, like how many winters they've had it, or if if
Oh,
we're gonna try to base some of our
yeah,
research and let them kind of rattle the branches for us, how many winters they've done it this way.
yeah, I'll look into that because I have someone who works in town hall.
We're just out of curiosity, just so we kind of have a longer track of what we're basing it on.
Mhm. Yep. And if things go the way they are, global warming, we might be using less and less and less. So the cost factor there is
So
another.
true. Yes.
And is the one in Wendell a fabric structure or is it
No,
shingles?
it's asphalt shingle.
Okay.
It looks like the Pagoda Peace Building, except for it comes to a point. Correct, right? It's round.
Yeah,
It's hexagonal or one of those shapes, and it has an
right.
opening in the front and a big door on it, and it goes to a point.
Yeah. Okay. How's everybody feel about buying a engraved paver for the new library from the committee?
What committee?
That's Jeff's resignation.
How many freaking pavers do you plan on buying?
Well, how big's the patio? You guys are on the committee, the buildings committee. You got to know how big that patio is.
No, my point is the building committee for the library is already buying a paver. And now
Right.
I'm seeing all these emails about buying another paver
Right.
for Mary Ann.
Right. Well,
So
see, I was thinking of something like town building committee and then great, one more building to maintain.
That sounds like something you'd say, Jeff.
But see, Jeff's on that buildings committee, and he said he wants to have everything done for 30 years. So this is a brand new building, and he's looked at the spec, and it's going to be a lot longer than 30 years.
Now,
Yeah,
will the layout of the pavers take into account like how much text is on each, so that like the whole thing in total paints a picture? That like the grace, you know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
And that would be great, but I'd be surprised if they're laid out that way.
yeah, don't count.
It's 3 lines, 30 characters each line.
Just saying, if we buy enough pavers, we can do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I'm happy to buy a paver, contribute. We were gonna buy one too. We're just lazy around the house here.
How much are they?
Is it
150.
150?
150?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, I just heard Anna said she was going to buy the paper
What?
for the committee.
That's right. I'll buy the paver for the committee.
Sounds like a plan to
Cheapskate.
me.
I'll do it.
Well, if we get, I just got a email from Gail Fleischaker, and asking for Phil Parker's email address because I think he's been approved. So if we get him on board,
Oh, the first thing you're
You're
gonna do
gonna
is
do
hit
is
him up
hit 'em
for
up.
money.
Yeah,
Boy,
But-
hit him
that's
up for
gonna be a
30
short
bucks.
tenure.
Can't say no at your first meeting, you know.
Right.
It could be, first meeting and last. Jeez.
And we could also buildings committee and volunteers, and that's Russ.
Mhm.
Russ doesn't want his name up. Oh, well, Russ shouldn't. Russ is contributing enough of his skills to, we should buy one for Russ.
Hey, speaking of Russ, did he submit a bill yet for the work at the fire station?
Yeah, although there was one receipt that apparently got lost, and he just got a copy of it and emailed it to me today, and I'm going to turn that in tomorrow. But yeah, for the
Approximately how much money did we spend on that?
little under 8,000. Let's see, Russ's total was $324.92.
$324.92.
$324, yeah. And then I bought, I charged to the town account the stain, the gallon of stain. I think that was between 50 and 60 bucks.
Okay.
So, and then this other is for, remember all those tubes of caulk?
Yeah.
And then a gallon of roof cement, that was another 100. So what do we got? 3, 4,
Oh, it's less than 1,000.
500 bucks.
Okay.
Did he put in their, we told him to put in their cost for disposal.
Yeah, he
of
did.
all the crap. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So,
Now I was just trying to figure out how much money do we have left. That's
oh,
all.
well, so I was, talking to Gabe recently, and apparently, well, we have $69,217.77, because apparently last year, somehow Becky made 2 requests and we got $70,000 instead of just the 40.
That's funny. I was at town meeting and I don't remember seeing 2 requests. We'll have to look that one up.
Well, this is what is it from? Ledger history detail expenditure ledger, start date 7/1/24, end 6/30/2025.
So does that mean we better get finished with our inventory and make
Yeah.
our recommendations so we could start spending the money?
Or just put the salt shed in.
You mean after our trip?
What trip?
To Williamsburg. We're gonna go see the signpost.
Yes. I mean, I was talking to Gabe about, how, we're still kind of formulating what our priorities are going to be. And that when we get to a certain point where there's a meeting, where the finance committee or whoever is talking to us, I mean, I think we can argue pretty easily that, we're doing these things, we're gradually going to be using this money, and essentially don't take it away from us.
Mhm.
Plus I think we can argue, look at what we have saved the community on, some of these, they're small projects, but if we were paying somebody to come in and do those, first off, we got to find the person. And I talked to Gabe also about that $10,000 limit that we thought, do you need 3 estimates?
Mhm.
She basically said, you want to get 3 estimates, you just need to kind of cover your bases.
You mean over $10,000, or is she saying
No,
three?
regardless, Yeah,
Hmm?
for whatever. Yeah, I mean, like if it,
Anything?
I mean,
Mhm.
if it's going to be, I think, few $100s, I don't think we have to worry. But I mean, I think the prudent thing is, I mean, I noticed on the this expenditure ledger, um, the replacement of that outdoor faucet at the school. Remember that one that was leaking
Yep.
on the south wall? Well, that's come from our money. That was thousand 1,032.
Yeah, okay. You know,
So
for some things, it's gonna get tough to be finding three people who want to give you a price.
Right.
Yeah.
But I
well,
think Becky also always said, you have to get a price, write it down. I don't think it has to be a physical quote. So we can call John Doe and say, how much do you do roofing for per square foot? We're looking at this building in Shutesbury, and he goes, oh, just for budgetary reasons, just carry $150 a square foot. And that's what I think we can do.
right.
And
Well, I
big,
think as we start to do projects where we're going to hire a contractor, I
mhm.
think we will need to kind of play it by ear and see um, how difficult it is. And
One of the biggest expenses we're going to have once we get into the school is the the air intake system. It's so out of the norm. You're supposed to be able excuse me, exchange air. I don't know the technical different things, but we only do it 3 times instead of 10 times, and the filters and all that. That was a big issue when we were doing the heating system.
Yeah, but we put in
Uh,
a new control system like 2 years
right,
ago.
right. But prior to that, prior to us doing all that, that was one of the issues another engineer had a problem with, is that it's like a 1970s air intake system. And it had to do with bringing codes up for COVID, that we don't clean the air enough or exchange the air enough. So that's something we'll have to get into. That's a major capital expense that we'll have to you know, come out of free cash, whatever they call those things.
Okay.
okay, getting back to the paver, are we agreed that we will purchase a paver or?
I'll do it. We'll take a
Mhm.
vote.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll
so
go.
I think January 10th is the last day. So this is something that um, we need to, I mean, I can purchase it and if people want, and then get reimbursed equal shares.
Yep.
And what do we want to say on it? I mean, we could just have town building committee, congratulations. Or, my first thought about,
Oh, I like that, because
great, one
no
more.
one's gonna read them, and then
Yeah.
someone will read it and give us a chuckle.
Yeah, I like it too.
Oh,
I
you
would
want
say
to,
no names,
No name, exactly.
so, so do you
no,
want to do that?
Yeah,
no names, and if they want an address, we're gonna put yours down.
I understand.
and it's buildings, town
Town, is it
buildings.
town buildings committee?
You don't think it'd be fun to put our names on it? I think it'd be fun.
Yeah, but I don't, we only have 30 characters
Oh,
long.
oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, that would
So
work.
unless we,
Yeah.
unless we just did, Anna, Jeff, Steve,
Nah,
and
that,
Frank.
that's fine. No, no, it's fine. I wasn't thinking about the characters.
Yeah, 200 years, they're gonna wonder who the hell are these people?
Yeah,
I don't know. It's kind of fun, don't you? I
All
don't
right.
know. You find
yeah,
like,
definitely.
yeah, when we open up, old houses and find like, someone sign their name on a stud or whatever, not a stud on some of the older houses, but it's cool to find that stuff.
So
When Bro-
I will, I'll write this up. I'll send it to everybody and you can Yay or nay, or, so my thought is great would be all caps with an exclamation point, and then one more building to maintain.
Yep,
Is that good?
sounds good. In Providence, Rhode Island, they did an Irish immigrant memorial when they did the rebuilding of the water fire. And later on, my dad told everyone, he goes, "Oh, I bought one of those bricks." I said, "Where is it?" He goes, "Oh, I could never find it because they sold, 3,000 of them. But we finally found it. It took a long time."
Mhm. That's cool.
Okay, and it's town buildings, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. All right, I think I sent, forwarded, 2 emails from, CPA projects. One was the Hearst House where there's still $1,000 remaining. And then the 34,000 for Old Town Hall plus 1,000. Now I looked at um, something I have in my file that June 21st, 2022, the building committee was gifted $1,000 from the Friends of the Shutesbury Historic Commission to be used at Old Town Hall, either for the project or it says for any immediate repair, such as the front entryway to the building. And I assume that's the door sill and sticky doors, which we did for, significantly less. So I would think that 1,000 should stay with us.
Hmm.
But, Jeff, I don't know if it was the last meeting, you had talked about, could we get a vapor barrier under that building? And I was thinking if we could rewrite, because I noticed in that email from Mateo, it said if we want to pursue the project at Old Town Hall, they'd have to rewrite it, I guess, because of the amount of time that's expired. But if we could excavate enough so somebody could get down along the right side and if necessary, some more on the left side, but I think that's actually accessible. Do you remember, Anna, did it look like you could have crawled down along that left side when we were in there?
We've crawled farther?
Yeah, like we didn't go further,
Yeah,
but it kind of looked to me like there was access
I
along.
think so. Yeah. I don't know if we could have gotten all the way to the front corner because it did definitely tapered up, but I feel like we could have gone like easily another 10 feet.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so the question is, do we want to see if we could repurpose that grant to do some of what that project was all about? Um, but not take out so much that we compromise the existing supports wherever they are. It's more like a crawl shaft, well, a crawl path, I'll call it. Because then I think you could, if you could go from each side, 2 people working together could get a vapor barrier in there.
Mhm.
Did everyone open up the email I forwarded to you all about Leslie Bracebridge sent me about Old Town Hall?
Yeah.
Oh,
So we do have 6 foot on that side of the building.
Looks like you have 6 foot on both sides of the building.
Yeah.
Both sides, yeah, on both sides. Plus, I think that orange is part of that
yeah.
configuration too. So we could probably incorporate someone putting a dump load, or we can fix up that holes and do
Which-
grading on that side also.
On the north side. I
Yeah.
mean, there's some that could be done on the south side too. Well, Frank, what you sent, I looked at that, and that jives with what was in Bob Grove's file,
Okay.
suggesting the property that belongs to the building, including that kind of extra piece
Hmm.
that's on the
North side.
north side
Right.
towards the back. Yeah, so that's good.
So we could probably come up with something to incorporate some of the monies that was designed for the basement and doing what we're going to do and say, this isn't the spirit. We have to finish sealing off the building because of the basement crawl space. And we could write up a certain way and the CPA people would let us use the monies.
Okay, so I will, I mean, I don't,
Are you comfortable? I'm not with removing that dirt. Just based on the structure, I see where, you know, a couple of the columns are just sitting on friggin' rocks.
yeah, but I think there's enough space between the foundation wall and where those piers are supported that you could go in between them and essentially, let's say I mean, I'd have to measure. Do you think there's 10 feet from the middle supports, Anna, to the foundation wall? Well, the building's what, is it 42 feet wide?
It's more than that. We measured it at some point. We measured something.
So if you had just a 3 foot wide area dug out, Jeff, then if it's 12 feet wide, then you still have 9 feet, so 4.5 feet, and you're not going down that far.
Why are you digging out? I'm not quite following. Why would we dig out
And how far down are you digging?
just to get access, like just to have better head height?
So that you can crawl to the front along the right side so that you could then get a vapor barrier in there. So, so I guess there are two questions. One, do we want to even pursue that? Trying to make an improvement in there to get a vapor barrier, or do we have more important issues and more things to spend our time on?
I mean,
I think, I,
we
I
don't
think
seem
we
to have a
do
moisture
both.
problem in there, or like what problem are we solving other than it's just not dealt with the way we would normally build things nowadays?
Yeah, I
And if
agree
you
with
do go
that.
ahead and fix that one wall that has openings in it and, fill it up with all the mortar, do grading so the water goes away from the building on the north side, it might solve any excess moisture that we've had down there.
Yeah, I
And
mean, we were down there I don't know what it's like in like the most humid time of year. I guess it seemed like awfully dry while we were in there.
Well, I've been in there several times. I can't tell you exactly
Yeah.
time of the year, but
But
except for where the water seeps in, which
yeah.
we know where that source is. Um, One, it's always very dry, and two, Anna, when you and I were looking around, we didn't see any mold on any of the framing or the
Right.
subfloor. So I don't think there's a need. Um,
Because with the water seeping in, is the vapor barrier just going to be a pool liner that collects it, and then we create a problem? Like sometimes, it's sort of like the leaky, inefficient house also lets all that bad radon out. Like sometimes there's it's an old building that's been that way for a long time, that if there's water getting, like, yes, we should address water getting in. And if there's any leakage, we should try to stop the leakage at its source. But if that's a difficult thing to do as a retrofit on an old foundation with minimal access below, I wonder if the exposed dirt is actually a benefit in that situation than something we want to fix.
And the previous building committee could not get anyone to dig it out. And we were going to use that huge vacuum machine. Which those guys, that's a huge 8-inch, 12-inch machine that sucks lots of stuff out, and we might take too much out. So
Right.
I don't think
Jeff told me he's got some interesting shovels that he likes to use.
No, I remember you stole them all, so I don't have any left. I think we should skip the vapor barrier. I think we should just deal with the north side.
I agree.
I think we got bigger fish to fry than that.
Me too.
Okay, so I will just respond to Matteo and just tell him that there's this $1,000 that was gifted to us to use for anything, and we want that, but the 34,000 can just go away, and the 1,000 from the Hearst House, because that, I mean, we had nothing to do with that project. I assume that was just left over from what was there when they did that rebuild.
One thing that was in a crutch of Bob Groves is that when they did that, they never finished grading around it. So as a period piece, they spent a lot of money to have the granite around the bottom, but on one or two sides, you see the concrete foundation. And every time it was brought up, Steve Sullivan would roll his eyes saying, well, I just have the highway department come in with 2 truckloads of loam and plant new grass. I don't know if you want to use $1,000 on hiring a landscaper to do that, if you want to use it up. That was Bob's pet peeve. It didn't look period enough because you can see modern concrete on a historical type building. But if you want to use the money up, we can hire.
Well, I could, all right, I can say that we understand there's still some grading that needs to be done, and
Yeah.
we'd like to hang on to that, but let the 34,000 go.
Yep.
That's what with the Hearst House when we were down there, we thought there was a need for restaining.
Yep,
That would be the west side, maybe the west side.
The street side?
definitely the west side, but
west
it
side.
might be feeling a little in different places. But I mean, if you do one side, I think you'd want to do them all, yeah. But I don't know if that would be something. What I remember in the emails, it's sort of like there was this grant to do this renovation, and there's this $1,000 left. So that, restaining is more of a maintenance thing at this point, right?
Yeah, but
I think having the 1,000 for grading and seating would be would make the most sense to me. Anybody else?
I don't really understand the grading part because I've never noticed that there's a grading issue, but I never looked.
This was Bob Groves. I drove by that building so many times and I didn't notice it till he pointed it out.
There's not a grading issue in terms of water running away. It's that on, I think it's the west side, the concrete or concrete block section of the foundation is exposed, and then the granite sits on top of that. So what Frank is saying is that Bob Groves didn't like seeing either the poured concrete or the concrete block because that's not period. Everything else is period. So if you add a truckload of soil to cover the modern day foundation, then it regains its period look. Am I right, Frank? Is that kind
Yeah,
of
it looks like it's sitting on a granite foundation, even though it is not. And that's all he said to us was, we spent so much money on that granite. It's tough to see. I don't care it doesn't bother me. I'd like to also see it restained. If we could ask the CPC money saying, we're also going to re-update the stain because we can say wasn't put it on thick enough in the first time. And it wasn't a rehab job. We're just going over the second coat that was supposed to be done or something.
Well, we could just say that there appears to have been a flaw in the stain application because it's breaking. How long ago was that thing renovated?
5, 6 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, it shouldn't be breaking.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll address. I like spending the money on stain,
Okay.
rather than the grading, because I agree it's it's not a real issue. Okay, we don't have much time left, but so I didn't send, but I wrote a letter to send regarding the signboard. I'd send this to the Historic Commission and to the Select Board. So very shortly or very briefly, what it says is, Building Committee has discussed the recommendations made in this report, previously mentioning Stephen Smolsky's report dated October 11th, 2024. Since the signboard referred to as guide board in the report is now to be exposed to the elements. The building committee is in agreement with all the recommendations and in addition will assume the responsibility for the construction of the concrete foundation. The building committee will also periodically inspect and perform necessary maintenance to ensure the longevity of the restored signboard. Any thoughts, concerns, additions, subtractions?
So are you saying in that statement that we're gonna pay for the foundation?
Well, that was a question of mine. I mean, I'm thinking that, with Russ's help, we'll form and pour a slab, on grade pretty much. I mean, and it's not going to be that expensive. Or I could say the building, we're expecting the Historic Commission to be responsible for the cost of
Well,
that.
Mateo said he wanted us to figure out what it costs so that if they didn't have enough money in the funds, they could apply for another grant. And it's not that much money, but we still have to come up with a design and how much it's going to cost. And it might be 1 yard or, 2 yards or 3 yards of concrete, which isn't much money. But Mateo, they did offer to pay for it, but they wanted us to be the orchestrator of it. So I don't think it would be coming out of our budget. It would be coming out of theirs.
Okay, so I will put a statement in there saying that with the understanding that the Historic Commission will pay the cost of the foundation.
Right.
And did you get any information from them on size yet?
Of course not.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Okay. So is
That's
that
why
our
we're doing a
field-
road trip, a site
Is that
visit.
our road trip?
Yeah, we got to go out and see that thing in
That's
the restaurant in Williamsburg. I'll definitely do that. That'd be fun. I have an unanticipated business I'd like to discuss before we leave.
Got a few minutes left. Go ahead.
Okay. What most committees do, I found out in the past, Becky said, well, I sent you the blah, blah, blah. Did you all get it? No, we didn't. What most committees do is they use the main account, which is buildings@shutesbury.org for an email address. And anything that anyone sends to that address automatically is sent out to each individual member. And if you go to the website at shutesbury.org, and then on the far right on that header where we get all the things, it says how to. It says how to forward committee emails. So when you send a letter to the select board, it goes to the select board email address, but then it's forwarded to each 3 members. The planning board's that way, the finance committee is that way. And I think what's happened in the past with Becky is that she might have been doing that, thinking, I sent it to Shutesbury at whatever.org. Didn't you all get it? But we've never set this up. And I'd like to set this up so that when someone sends us a bid, it goes to that account. We automatically get forwarded it, and we're all kept in the loop. Does this sound like a plan?
Sounds good. Sounds like this is something you can set up.
You've got that. You're the guru because you've got the password. I'll come and help you.
Okay.
And because that way, and then it's a good thing is once Phil gets his, I don't know how long does it take Phil to get sworn in, and he gets his own Gmail Shutesbury email address like we all have. We can set all these things up, and then we'll go forward with that, and then we won't miss a lot of these things. But I think that's why a lot of the times, she said, "Didn't you guys get it?" And I'm like, "No." So I think it went to one email box. So I'll help with
well, I would check my Shutesbury buildings.org account, and often it wasn't there either.
there, yeah. So
it wasn't that, it wasn't that I was the only one getting it.
yeah, okay.
None of us were getting it.
So I'll help you out with that.
Okay, great.
Okay. So we're at the end of the meeting. Did Jeff want to
I
make a
think
motion?
that's-
Okay, I make a motion. We terminate this meeting.
Oh,
Awesome.
how about, can people meet on the 8th of January? That's 3 weeks.
Yep.
I think
Yep.
so. Let me just double check. Yes.
Okay. Everyone, happy holidays. See you.
Oh, do a quick roll call. I seconded it. Do a
Oh.
quick roll call so we don't get in trouble.
All right. All in favor? Cook,
I
McGinn,
Aye.
Quackenbush,
Aye.
Dalmas, aye. Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you. Happy holidays.
See you next
Yeah.
year.
Okay.
bye.
We're done, Gabe.